Grab your split kits and your CCF forms. It is time to do a DOT urine specimen collection. I am going to take you through the 49 CFR Part 40 procedures step by step. So, new collectors, this is the perfect video for you to watch so that you can learn how to correctly do the collection procedure and pass your mocks with flying colors. Let's get started. Before you start your collection, you will need to gather your supplies and place them on your medical tray table on wheels. Every collector should have a medical tray table on wheels because it makes the collection process go much smoother. You can get one of these tray tables from my Amazon storefront, which is linked in the description below. A split kit is a type of specimen cup and tubes that are used for DOT collections. You want to make sure that you are using a specimen cup that contains 2 specimen tubes so that you are able to split the 45 milliliters of urine. These bluing tablets are designed to change the clear water in the toilet to dark blue. This will stop the donor from attempting to dilute their specimen with clear water from the toilet. This is tamper-evident tape. Tamper-evident tape should be used in the bathroom to secure anything that the donor may attempt to use to adulterate their specimen. If you are unable to completely shut off the water to the sink, you will use a sheet of plastic or a plastic bag and secure it over the sink with your tamper tape. Tamper tape will leave behind residue or words on the surface it was applied to if the donor attempts to lift the tape. That's why it's important to use tamper-evident tape and not blue painter's tape when securing the bathroom for your collection. You will also need latex-free gloves. You should not handle any bodily fluids without your gloves. Make sure you have a black ballpoint pen. And of course, the star of the show, your Federal Custody and Control Form, also known as the CCF. This Federal Custody and Control Form will be used to document the entire specimen collection. Okay, let's get into the pages of the Custody and Control Form. The Custody and Control Form contains 5 pages. Page number 1 is the test facility copy. This copy goes into the back opening of your specimen bag and gets shipped off to the lab with your specimens. Page number 2 is the MRO or Medical Review Officer copy. You will need to fax this copy directly to the MRO within 24 hours of the collection. Now, page number 3 is your copy, the collector copy. You need to keep this on file for at least 30 days after the collection. I typically keep my collector copies in a file folder in a locked filing cabinet so that it can't be accessed by anyone who is unauthorized to access this information. Page number 4 is the employer copy. This is faxed directly to the designated employer representative that is appointed by the company that you're doing collections for. This should be done within 24 hours of the collection. And finally, we have page number 5, the donor copy. This should be handed directly to the donor at the conclusion of the collection. On the back, you can encourage the donor to write down any prescription information so that they have it ready to go if the MRO contacts them for any reason. In order to fill out the CCF form, you will go in the same steps, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4. Step 1 includes all of the area that you see highlighted on the screen. It should be filled out completely and correctly. Step 2 is here in this box. This is where you will be checking off information about the actual specimen. Step 3 includes affixing the labels to your bottles that you see here at the bottom of the screen. After completing step 3, you will flip the page to the MRO copy and the donor will complete step 5. Flip back to the test facility copy and you, the collector, fills out step number 4. Now let's break this down step by step. The first step is the information box. This is where you will find information about the employer, the MRO, your collection site, what type of test it is, and the reason for the testing. Some of this information is typically pre-populated on the CCF form. You, as the collector, need to verify and re-verify and verify again that that information is correct that is pre-populated on your form. Anything that is not pre-populated will need to be filled in by you. So let's start by filling out the employer's information on letter A. Whew, okay, that was a lot. Now, moving on to letter B. This is the medical review officer's information. So you're going to have the doctor's name and phone number, fax number, all of that information has to be filled in for the medical review officer. Now, this is just a practice form. That's why it says medical review officer pre-populated. But typically, if it's pre-populated information, it will say Dr. Lewis or Dr. whoever, their phone number, fax number, and their address. Moving on to letter C, this is where you're going to put in the donor social security number, employee ID number, or their CDL state and number. Now, you're going to use CDL state and number for any truck drivers that are under FMCSA regulations. So make sure that if you have a truck driver that comes in, you're asking for their CDL number as opposed to the social security number or an employee ID number. For letter D, you are going to specify the DOT agency. So this is a truck driver and he is under FMCSA regulations. All new collectors will need to study the DOT agencies and their abbreviations. So FMCSA, FAA, FRA, FTA, PHMSA, and USCG. FMCSA stands for the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. FAA is the Federal Aviation Administration. FRA is the Federal Railroad Administration. FTA is the Federal Transit Authority. PHMSA is the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. And then you have USCG, your United States Coast Guard. Now, letter E, you're going to select the reason for the test. This could also be pre-populated on your form, or you may be able to find this information on the drug test order form from the employer. If it's not on there, then you will have to make the correct selection, so you should contact the DER if you're unsure of the reason for the test. But as a good collector, you should also study reasons for testing and know what each of them means. So, pre employment, random, reasonable suspicion, post accident, return to duty, follow up. You should know the definitions of all of those and study, study, study. On letter F, you're going to select the drug test to be performed. All DOT screens are 5 panels, so you should always check the box that has the 5 panels listed. As a good collector, you also need to study the abbreviations for the 5 panels that are included in the DOT drug test. So you have THC, COC, PCP, OPI, and AMP. Collectors, please study drugs and know the differences and know what they mean, know what they do, know how they affect the mind and the body. You need to become an expert on all things drugs. I would start with the DEA website and start studying. And finally, to wrap up step one, you are going to write in your collection site information. Please be aware that the collection site is where the drug test is taking place. So that is not always going to be your business address because sometimes you'll be on site as a mobile collector. And that is the address that you want to put down in letter G. And then, of course, you want to fill in your collector information, your phone number and fax number, and your email address. Now the donor will need to remove any outerwear, including hats, empty their pockets, and put any items in a secure locker. Now you will present a sealed cup to the donor, or the donor may pick out their own cup. Just make sure that the seal is intact on the specimen cup. You want to maintain the integrity of the collection process. Now break the seal on the cup and remove the seal. Once you have successfully removed the seal, you can open the cup and dump out the contents of the cup. Make sure that you dump the contents out on your tray table and don't reach into the cup to get the items because you could potentially compromise the specimen. You will have a specimen bag that you will place your specimens in at the conclusion of the collection, and also your two specimen tubes that you will be splitting the specimen into those tubes A and B. Set those off to the side until the donor comes back with the actual specimen. Now, you will go over the collection procedure with the donor, ensuring that they understand all the instructions. You can have the instructions printed out and laminated for the donor to read prior to the collection. I usually take a Sharpie and mark the 45 milliliter line on the specimen cup so that the donor has a good indication of how much urine they need to collect into the cup. I then tell the donor to take the cup into the restroom and provide 45 milliliters of urine into the cup. They are not to wash their hands and they are not to flush the toilet during the collection process. Once they are finished, they are to bring the cup directly back out to me so that I may check the temperature of the specimen. Give these clear instructions to the donor and then hand them the specimen cup. While you wait for the donor to bring back the goods, you need to put on your gloves. Y'all, don't be out here handling nobody's urine without your gloves on. That is gross. Put your gloves on.
A few minutes later.
Okay, so we have the urine, and now we are going to check the temperature within 4 minutes of receiving the specimen cup from the donor. When you look at the temperature strip, you are going to look for a green dot to appear between the 90 and the 100. As you can see on the cup, it is appearing on the 94 or the 4. So look for that green dot, and that is going to be your indication that the temperature is within range. If you do not see a green dot or any dots on the temperature strip, that means that the temperature is out of range, and we will be going over that procedure in a different video because there is different things that you have to do. So look for that green dot. Looks just like that. And then you can go ahead and proceed with checking the rest of the specimen. When I'm checking specimens, I use the TQQ method. So temperature, quantity, quality. So we have the correct temperature. Now we need to look at, do we have 45 milliliters? Yes, we do. And then we're going to look at the quality of the specimen and make sure that it looks right. So does it look like urine? Does it have bubbles in it like urine should? Does it have a weird smell to it? Not that you have to like stick your nose down into it, but is there like a bleachy smell coming off of it or something? Like you need to check the quality and make sure that it doesn't look crazy or anything that you need to document or maybe even call the DER about or maybe even do a direct observation. So now back to our CCF form. We're going to check mark the box that says urine because this is a urine screen. Then under collection, we're going to check mark the box that says split because all DOT collections are going to be split between test tube A and test tube B. Then you're going to come down to the temperature. It says collector reads temperature within 4 minutes. So we did that and the temperature was within range. So we're going to check mark the box that says yes. If you do not have any remarks to put in, unless there's anything that you need to notate, like maybe the donor flushed the toilet during the collection process, then you would put that note into the remarks section. Now, separate your two specimen tubes by pulling them apart and breaking the seal. And then you're going to pop open your first tube. You get to choose which tube is specimen tube A and which one is B because they are not labeled. So go ahead and open specimen tube A, and then you're going to take your urine specimen and you're going to pour 30 milliliters into specimen tube A. Very carefully. Be careful not to spill your specimen. 30 milliliters is usually up to the second line that you see on the specimen tube. When you close your specimen bottle, make sure you hear the popping and the snapping sound to ensure that it is secure. You do not want your specimen to leak out into your specimen bag. That will result in a fatal flaw. Now, in specimen 2B, you're going to pour up to the 15 milliliter line. and the excess urine you can dump out into the toilet. This is usually the time where I pause on the collection and I tell the donor to follow me into the bathroom. I inspect the bathroom, pour out the excess urine, remove my gloves properly, wash my hands. The donor is washing their hands. And then we go back to the collection site area and wrap up the rest of the collection process. Make sure that you never leave the donor by themselves with their specimen. Step number 3 is labeling your specimen bottles. So now you're going to take label A and you're going to gently peel it off from the bottom of your CCF form, and you're going to place that label directly in the center of the cap. So that circle that says place over cap, you're going to place that directly in the center of your specimen bottle cap. Now, you want the sides of your label to go down the sides of the specimen bottle, but you are not going to cover the front latch or the back latch with your label. So you want to make sure that you're placing your label so that the sides go down the sides of the specimen bottle on the left and the right, not over the front and the back. If you place the label over the front latch or the back hinge, it is going to rip. So you want to make sure you're placing it down the sides of your bottle and then conforming that label to the sides to make sure that it is secure. Once you have your labels attached to the specimen bottle, then you, the collector, can date the specimen seals, and then the donor will initial right under where you put the date at on the specimen seal. Please make sure that the specimen seals, the labels, are attached to the bottles before writing on them. The donor should not be filling out or initialing the specimen label while it is still affixed to the CCF form. So make sure that you put them on the bottles and then you, the collector, will date, the donor will initial. Step number 5, the donor signs the CCF. So we're going to flip the page to the MRO copy, and the donor is now going to fill in step number 5. There is a statement that the donor needs to read on step number 5 prior to signing. So basically, they're signing off that they have provided a specimen that is not adulterated. They are signing off that the collection process was handled properly. So once they read that statement and they agree, they will put their signature, print their name, put the date of the collection, put their daytime and evening phone number, and they will also put their date of birth and email address. You want to make sure that the donor fills in all of their contact information because the medical review officer or their assistant may need to contact the donor to conduct an interview about things that may have come up on their drug test. So, if any substances come up that could have a prescription, they will contact the donor to see if the donor has a valid prescription. They need the donor's contact information in order to do that. So make sure that the donor is putting down as much contact information as possible. Do not leave any blanks. Step number 4, the collector signs the CCF. So now the collector is going to provide their signature on the test facility copy in step number 4. So that means you're going to flip back to the front page and the collector is now going to provide their signature, print their name, put the time and the date of the collection, and then don't forget that you have to write in the name of the delivery service that is picking up your collection. Now that we have finished the entire collection procedure, it is time to bag up the specimen. The donor should still be present during this time because the donor needs to witness you putting their specimen into the bag and sealing the bag closed. So, first, we're going to detach our front page or detach our pages of our CCF form so that we can take the front page and place it into the bag. Once you have done that, you are going to fold the paper in half and then you're going to fold it in half again into a small square. You want to make sure that the specimen ID barcode at the top right is facing outwards. So when you place it into the back part of the bag, the barcode is visible through the bag. So with your specimen bag, you're going to have a front opening that has absorbent material in the front. That is where your specimen tubes are going to be placed, right there with the absorbent material. The back flap is where your CCF form is going to go. And you want to make sure that the barcode is facing the back side of the bag. So you go ahead and put your form right into the back flap with our barcode facing the back side of the bag. Next, we're going to take each specimen tube and we're going to place it into the front flap with the absorbent material. So just place that right into the bag, and then you're going to get your other tube and place that one into the front as well. Now let's seal our bag closed. We have our specimen tubes and we have our form securely in the bag, so now let's seal it. Peel off the silver lining. Fold down the top flap over both openings. I usually take it down to the first words on the first line, and that is a good place to secure the bag. That way, nothing can come out of the front flap and nothing can come out of the back flap. You want to make sure that your specimen stays secure inside of your specimen bag. Woo, we have made it through the full collection process, and now it's time to just distribute the rest of the copies of the CCF form to the right individuals. So, of course, the donor gets their copy right then and there, and you can hand it to them, encourage them to put their prescription information on the back of their copy so that they have it ready to go if the MRO contacts them. Then from there, you're going to distribute the MRO copy. You can fax that over to the MRO. You have to do that within 24 hours. And then you're going to fax the employer copy within 24 hours directly to the DER. And then your collector copy goes into your filing cabinet for at least the next 30 days after the collection. And that's it. Make sure that you are studying the 49 CFR Part 40 regulations. And if you're interested in becoming a qualified specimen collector for DOT, you can click the link that's in the description below and sign up for my training course. Hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the upcoming instructional videos. I will see you next time on the next episode of the Learning Lab. Look out for new episodes of The Stephanie Kelly Show coming soon.